Today is August 25. Kubebuilder, control runtime, and control the tools meeting. Please don't speak nothing that you don't want to be in the internet for all posterity. So now let's come back for the triage. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep. Yes.
Cool. So the first one should be adding support for this architecture by default. I think.
I mean, we do this in SDK, right?
Do we support this architecture in SDK?
I wanted to say we do, but I think we do. We ended up switching to Docker BuildX in order to simplify, because we used to have Travis, and then Travis had all of the architectures we needed, and then we were hitting Travis issues, and S390 kept failing. And then Docker BuildX allows us to not need all of the platforms and still be able to build for those architectures.
So, yeah, I'm okay as well to add in this one. I think only IBM servers, right? Use this one, but
yeah, I think it's good to. I would say triage accepted. I'm not sure when this will happen. Is lifecycle frozen? Does that mean that it won't?
Never be closer to by the bot.
Okay, that always confuses me. I always think it's the opposite, but.
And you're removing needs to be okay. 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 I'm gonna say 25, right? Okay, BuildX, right? BuildX to provide support. Is BuildX, right? That we have in SHK.
Yes.
So, okay. You put also help you wanted, right?
Yes. I can add a link to what we have in SDK to this issue. It's 2298. I'll do that in the background.
Yes. This one, I think you're not able to decide here because the problem of this one is like the person wants to create a model inside of the API directory, and that is failing, right? But also we have a pull request with a solution for that. I had no time to check this folder, but I never use go.work, so I don't know. That is something that I would need to also research. And the solution is like allow that by a flag, and then if you use the flag, you scaffold to go work by default. I think probably that would not be in the init, right? Because that is for the API. Probably would need to be in the create API, or I don't know. I think the best option here is try to analyze this proposal and see and see if it would be a good fit for the problem before we discuss or accept it. Someone check this one.
I can check this up because I've used Go Work packages pretty often. It's pretty useful feature. But just one question which I wanted to ask is why not the author is preferring to import an external API as it is instead using the API scaffolded by SDK to make it public. But uh, yeah, I can follow up on the issue and probably check this out.
Sure. That is a good point as well, right, Varsha? Because what I understand is like they want to create approach like one operator, and this operator defines the APIs. They want to create another project, and instead of defining the APIs there, they want to like import and use in some way, or in another place.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think it would be nice to also check like their scenario and use the case and see if that is the best way, because they can try. You can also create API. No, this noise, it was very strange. Sorry, folks. Like it shows that you fly to the fail in my backyard. But sorry, it was very strange noise. But I don't know, like I think they also don't want to implement everything, right? Because these they are trying to import and reuse the stuff. Hello?
Yeah, that sorry, I was muted. Yeah, that makes sense. But I'm still inclined towards having if an API is being used in multiple projects, I'm still inclined to having it separately, even from a Go work perspective. But I can follow up on the issue because I haven't looked at the issue and understood what the author is trying to do.
Do
So
you want that I ping you here that to make it easier, or just you know the number and all fine, we can move it forward?
can you add me to the comment, Camila? That'll be really helpful. Thanks.
And let's move it forward. The other one is this one. That is my one that we discussed in the last meeting. And what I need to do is close all these tasks and create one task with all data for we fix the implementation to do the release, right? For we see if you can, and create a task for we, as we agreed in the last one, to move using Go releaser instead and remove everything from the Google Cloud. So I'll leave it as one. It's for me. I'll try to do this today. And then we come back in the next meeting. If someone has any objection or question, please. Okay. This one I tracked because a folk raised some raised an issue because he was using the external plugins API, so he was creating his own plugins, and he made many questions, right? So I put here all things that I answer for him. Is that one? No, this one is like sorry. This one I created for we try to implement to supplement the documents to describe how it's possible to test the plugin, right? Because we have a document that describes how the person can create the plugin, and we in Kubebuilder we have some APIs, some methods that they can import as well and use, like we do in the integration tests, right? Maybe can help them to do the same. So the idea was just to have in the documentation as well how they can test. In SDK we do the same as well. we use the Kubebuilder implementations to create a context for the test and call the commands and all stuff.
Hi, Camila. Do we have other known consumers of Kubebuilder as a library other than the SDK?
We probably have, because for example, this other folk was asking for how he was creating his own plugins and to use it with the Stern API. He started to contribute with the APIs as well. We have it from us, what we know that he use a lot is SDK, but that doesn't mean that we don't have others as well. It's just hard to know, right? How you will know all projects that can be importing Kubebuilder.
Okay, thank you.
So sorry. Can we put a triage acceptance one? Any questions? That's fine. Objections? No?
No.
It's just documentation. I will put a help wanted as well. This is open for a while. It's like we have this permission scaffold by default in the rules. So the idea was like, do we really need this permission? If not, then we can remove. If we need, then it's fine. But I don't know why we need to ask it for the events permission in the leader election. Let me ask here. Right. I don't know.
Isn't the events related to the reconciliation loop like we need for?
Do you raise
what it is
events? Do we raise events? I think we raise only logs, right? Maybe I'm wrong. And this one is for the leader election, so I don't really know if we need the events. Do you raise the events for anything? Do you need to create and patch the events?
Actually, it's so all right. So it makes sense, but maybe we need to make sure again what the events are. So what the events are? Are you familiar with that?
I don't know. That is the point. The idea of the task is like check if you really need this permission. If not, I think we should not scaffold permission that is not used by default, right? But I'm not sure. That probably we need to check in the control runtime if when we are using leader election, we raise any event.
Yeah, I think in the controller runtime leader election, we usually don't raise an event when leader for lease is happening at least. But with there have been a lot of changes happening upstream in client goes based on leader election stuff. So it's better if we could check and then remove it. Yeah.
Hey, I'm not saying that we need to remove, right? In my knowledge, I don't know anything that we need to do to need this permission, but I didn't check. So that came into attention. I think someone asked, and I don't know why we scaffold this permission, right? So it would be not nice we ask for permissions that are not required by default. Just a small thing.
Yeah, agreed to that.
I think maybe it's a good idea to have like a cross issue on the controller runtime project.
But what we need to change in the control runtime?
Like do we need that? Or actually, it's a good idea to have a documentation in the controller runtime of the required RBAC rows.
What are the required permissions for by default for the manager and the leader election works? That makes sense, I think. Would you like to work on this one?
I can do that. That being said, maybe we can just do git blame and see who wrote that, and we can, if it's an active contributor, it will be easier to just ask them.
No.
Anyway, I can take it also, like ask them or whatever.
Can be me.
Oh, it's actually you.
No, I put the patch. Memory of a fish. Okay. In the time you accepted, because in the book we explain how to create the events, right? But now I know that to create the event, we cannot create by default. We need to change the scaffold. But
So what are actually these events resources?
yes, because for example here, I think it's here. In the new plugin in deploy image, we raise events. That's true. And this one we raise events. So here, but only if you use the plugin, you need to raise events, right? By default.
Which plugin? Because that's a reconciler of the
That
recorder.
is the deploy image one, the new one. The deploy image. So when you're creating API using the new deploy image plugin, the main goal is updated, and we start to pass the this parameter, the recorder one, and the events, and in the default implementation of the in the reconcile, we raise the events. Where? Events.
This means that we are raising the events for the reconciliation. I'm not sure if events are needed for leader election though.
Yeah, exactly. It's not for the leader election. And also it's not the default scaffold, right? Only if you use the plugin, you use that. And how the rules are generated is because we put the events here. So we don't need adding the full scaffold
But maybe
in the image.
that's not for nothing. Maybe like the we need to check the code, but maybe the leader election is emitting some events to the log. Does that make sense? Like when
Yeah.
you describe, I guess that's what the events are, right? When you do kubectl describe.
Yeah, the idea was like,
so
which
this
also
code is
is one.
probably at like the controller runtime. We need to see if they're using like the events recorder.
Yeah, the idea was like in the task was like check if we really need to use, if it has any reason for being scaffolded events by default. If not, we can remove it from the default configuration, and we can like document if it be the reason when you should use events, if that be required, right? And for the deploy image plugin, we don't need, because we scaffold the marker, and when you run make manifest, that will be generated. So I will put it here.
So I see right now, like just searching the controller runtime for the recorder, and I see that they do use it. I can go deeper and investigate this one.
That is cool. That's cool. Do you need I ping you, or you can get this one? 2684.
Just allocate it to me and I'll do that. Thanks.
What is your nick?
It's Almog. Hi, good to see you.
Zalmog, right? I will put triage. Accept it.
So just to make sure, this issue is about investigating and making sure that if and where and if, whether we need that, and if we don't need that, to drop it.
Yes. Then we just put in the, for example, when we open the PR, we can put we identify that that is not required to and blah blah blah, and drop. What we can do also is like check the motivations of this issue, right? Because that is a good point. And see if that should not be addressed by docs, right? Right. If it has like something that people want to do, like for example here, I don't think we have create events in the doc in current in the documents, right? But if we have something like that, we can like just add in the documents. But I think that is not required. Like just is an extra thing if you would you like to do the assessment.
It's like a really interesting different issue, like documenting how to create events.
Yeah, if you see that we don't have, confirm that we don't have, and you'll be able to, could you also tracking an issue, could you help on that?
I'll try to find the time.
I'm putting in that one. Let's just so is that make sense? Just to fix the grammar.
Lol, I finished this one. It's required. I'll just comment the where we use it.
You make these notes?
Yeah, I found out that we do use it, so we do need it.
You found it. So I just put, can you just comment here and then close and you know, this one is for you. You put, use it here. Okay. We raise the events here. Is that? Okay. Event record is here, right? Okay. What do you think, Fox? Should we close this one?
Yeah, I think so.
Could you just look at this one and track if it's needed with and then close it this one? It's possible. Because I think we don't have like a document how to raise events. Just checking the Kubebuilder docs.
Yeah, so let's create a new one and create like a new issue to document about this one.
Yes.
So we'll be able to track it separately. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that is the goal. Just check and see if yes, if you can create an issue, we can triage after and close it this one.
All right.
So I'm moving forward. Let me know if someone disagree. This one would be nice to have, but is generate a code like in the project file to make it clear, like do not edit this one and inform how it is used. Here has the motivations, but it's something like it would be nice. But if we add the code, it's not so simple, right? The problem is not possible to parse the YAML afterwards with the libs that we have. So I don't know if it's something, in my humble opinion, doesn't address too much value. Like it would be nice having information, but we don't need as well. Maybe the value to, you know, contribute with the lib to be able to make each parse comments is too much effort, right? I don't know.
But why like the do not edit comment? Sometimes you want to change the configuration.
In the
For
project
example,
file, we should.
yeah, for example, I decided in my project to change the where I put the API, and then I manually changed it and changed the project file, and then everything knew how to communicate. It makes sense. It actually makes sense the other way around, that we will improve the project file and allow to configure the Kubebuilder tool over there.
Yeah, the idea of the project file is track what you scaffold, right? Okay, you maybe we can change here like we have in the controller runtime is like do not edit unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
something
but
like
you can
that.
think about it like Go mod or like package JSON. So the initial version is being generated by the tool, but it's totally up to you and you can change it. So I think it's redundant.
But if you change, we cannot ensure that the things will work. If you change, so I think the motivation was this one, right? I think, yeah, it was yours, right? Yeah, was your task. Okay. Okay. Currently, we don't support you go there and change this. I think the project file. I think you did that, right? You did something. Let's see. When I configure a different path of my resource other than API path, the plugins do not honor it. And I expected that by default. So what you're saying is not possible because if you change the project file, that is not the only place. Like it's not we don't use the project file to define where are the things. The idea of the project file is track everything that you do with the tool, and you have the history. So we use it to know if it has an API
So in
added
my
or not.
opinion, if that's not something you can check, if it's just like a log, then it shouldn't be called like a project file. It should be called like project.log. And if it's like a
No,
file that's describing some
it's,
configuration, we should honor it. And if we don't honor it, then it's a bug. It can be like a bug that we're deciding not to prioritize, but it's still a bug.
no, it's not a bug because the action that you want to do is not supported at all, right? What do you want to do? We have a issue that is this one, right? Which would address this one, like that is the idea. But that means create a design solution, create a documentation, describe how you want to solve that, and if that can work with everything that we have already, right? So you cannot
So
break
Camila,
things.
I'm agreeing with your decision to close this one. What I'm saying is that the project file shouldn't be, in my opinion, like a log file.
But it's not a log file. The project file is the structure that represents the project configuration. However, allow edit that, and expected that we will change the scaffolds based on that, or like that will not work. Like doesn't it
Why do
have?
you have this file? What is the purpose of this file? Like giving you like information, then I think like
That
tool
no,
should
the
be
file
able
is
to do that
used
without
for
any
many reasons, right? You have a plugin and you want to scaffold another plugin. Your another plugin maybe is or not supported with the things that were done already. You have the for example, the multi-group support, right? When you use the multi-group support, your scaffold is done in another format. So the idea of the project file is like a structure that defines the configuration of your project. If you would like to edit the project file to change the behaviors, then that is not supported. That is fine. But then we need a design solution, like what do you want to do with the project file? And then we discuss what are the implications or not, what we need to change for that, and how you will support that. What exactly in the project file will you change? Because if, for example, you change.
So Camila, I understand your point. What I'm saying is that if it's a read-only thing, then we maybe shouldn't export it. Maybe we should just figure it out from, I don't know, like the annotation.
No, we need exported, right? Like we need it. Why we would not export it? Because if we don't export, how you know, how you have the data, where you have, if that is per project.
So the path is not configurable, so it's like a static one, right?
No, you can, for example, if you want to change for the multi-group, you use the command and that will be changed here. Has some workaround issues that you might need to change here, right? To do the things. But today we have no feature that say go there and change the project file and expect that things you work in the way that you want, right? The project file is a structure that defines the project configuration.
So Camila, for my
So for the
understanding,
for the idea of that task is like, for example, for others, doesn't think like, okay, I see here that I have the resource, I will just create another thing here. And then I will see these things scaffold or change it, that will not works, right?
So Camila, 90% of this file, you can edit and it will work. For example, let's say you are changing the name of the API, it will work, but the only thing that won't work is the path. So maybe we should just not export the path.
You'll not
The
work
path is the
because
problem.
no, you'll not work at all. You'll not work at all. Like you say that it doesn't cause a problem. That doesn't mean that work. What do you mean work? If I change here,
So
the
let's say
CRG version will change it.
I accidentally wrote V1 and then I did refactor manually and change it to V2. Then I can go to the project file and change it to V2 and everything will work.
No, you'll not
But if
work.
I do that on the path, it won't work because the
No.
path is the problem.
You'll not work. Like, for example, you'll not work if you will put here V1 beta 1, for example, and you try to use the plugin to create another API, that will fail because the project just allow one version. You cannot have a CRG version V1 and V1 beta 1 in the same
because you
project.
misconfigure it, because you did something that it's not allowed. It's exactly like
And you
changing a
change the
manifest, right?
version here, don't you change the version of the files that was scaffolded already. So the idea was like, if we create a comment in this file, we could avoid people think that if you edit things here, you like automatically change things in other places, or like things will work, right? As expected, because you're not like you scaffold, you create the API, you use this version, and you change it here, don't you change what was scaffolded already. And if you try use another command, another plugin that according with the things that you change, that can break the things. For example, if you came here and you change the layout, right? If you change this for V2, you cannot use the deploy image plugin. You cannot use the customize V2 alpha.
What I think is happening is that if you change it to V2, is like taking a deployment manifest and change the version of the manifest and expect that the rest of the manifest will work.
No, because
no, it won't work. But that's because you did something illegal. It doesn't mean that if you change something that is legal to do, like changing the name of the deployment, changing the name of the deployment will work, right? So if you change the project name, everything gonna happen smoothly, right? But if you do some like illegal change, obviously it will be broken. The only exception for that, I think, is like the path.
No.
So we can do like read only underscore path.
No, has no feature. It has no support at all. Like if you change, that is not true. If you change the layout, what it means the layout, what it represents the layout here, represents what was the plugin that you used to scaffold the project. So if you use V2, for example, the layout V2, you are not allowed to use the deploy image. The deploy image doesn't support the V2, the Go V2. Doesn't work with Go V2.
Exactly. So we should get an error for this specific use case. Is that make sense? Like what I'm saying is like, it's not everything is disallowed. This thing is disallowed, no. And the path is disallowed. So don't change these two.
Today has no documentation, has no feature that you say go there and change the project file, and something will happen for you. You have workarounds, you have issues that you might face that maybe the workaround solution will be go there and change the project file. That is different, right? Then you support a feature. You have something that you say do this because that is the expected.
I agree, Camila. I think like this is like an internal implementation, and that's fine. We don't must like documenting it, and we don't we don't have to like promise any contract, but it makes sense like any other internal configuration file that if you'll change it, you'll be able to control the tool. So some stuff we won't support and some stuff we can support. Like if you'll change the name of the project, we don't recommend you to do that. But
That will not work as well, because that maybe not work, right? Because you have the name of the project, and the name of the project is used to do many scaffolds, many things. So you can have many plugins that use the name of the project to do something. And to change the name of the project here doesn't mean that everything that you don't know added, you have the new name.
So maybe like having this comment, but instead of do not edit, like edit it on your own risk, like something less like, so people won't think like it's auto-generating every time you're doing something and you can do it. It's like this is an internal configuration. Do it in on your own risk, like something more soft.
Yeah, code generation by the tool, right? Do not edit cheese if you don't know, if you don't have it.
All right,
don't know what
you
are doing or
all
something.
right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so instead of the code generated, because that's like the common comment for stuff that will be destroyed and recreated later, something more soft, like edit on your own risk, this configuration generated by the tool.
If you do not know what you are doing, or
that's great.
Our risk.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then we have the second point, right? I'll put it here, because what motivates this one is like, let's try avoid people edit the things and think the things will work, right? Because you'll probably spend your time trying to understand why it didn't work, what you expected that to work, right? Was more just to avoid someone waste time in the same. But if you put any comment there, no matter the text, that will not work, because after that we are unable to load the configuration. And the reason for that is like the package that we import to parse the YAML doesn't work with the comments, I think. And to convert YAML to JSON doesn't work with the comments. And that fails.
We can just add like a dummy field, right?
So my point is, I don't know how much value also that it brings, right? It's like a small thing just to avoid someone having a frustration. I expected that something will happen, so it doesn't happen because I imagine that you got frustrated, right? Hello?
Yes, so I agree. We should give it a try and solve it. If it's something big, maybe we should deprioritize it.
Yeah, but I'm okay as well. Like, but I will put it here. I think if you are able to do that is fine, but it's not something important. Like, it's not we must do that.
100%, I'm with you here.
And if you'd like to do the thing that you want to do, you are not the first person, right? I think that is nice. The only thing is like we need to create a design doc with the idea and discuss everything that you can. Okay, if we do the things in this way, will that really work? And in this use case, cannot break that, is the best approach. Have we another approach to achieve the same that you would like? just discuss the options to address the need, right? Because I think it's not so trivial. Like if you change something here, we need to think if the project has all these plugins that we don't know how they work, right? Is that make sense? Like I'm not saying that your idea is not good or is not something required. I just think that we need to, would be great if you would like to contribute with that and create like a proposal doc with all your suggestions and the options that you can see for we achieve the goal that you want, right? But I don't think it's so trivial to implement, because this, I think, maybe I can be wrong, but the better step would be like create a design doc for everybody discuss and see, because maybe we can, that will make it easier. We see if the solution check all box and it doesn't break anything.
Yeah, I agree. It's not that urgent, and we don't have that much of manpower.
Yeah, but I mean, your idea, like what do you want, is very nice. Many people want the same, right? We just need like how we will achieve that, how we will discuss how you will achieve that, right? We need like a proposal solution. Like if you be able to, if you have ideas, if you have suggestions and you'd like to create a proposal solution and bring like in the other meeting, I think that would be amazing, right? The idea of like how I can customize the path of an API that I scaffolded before. Right? I'm not shutting down your idea at all. Like otherwise, has many people that you want to do what you try to do, right? But we have that issue open, and we have this complexity to address, right? So how, if you have ideas, please, like it'll be amazing, get your design solution and get your proposal, you bring here, you can demonstrate, you can do, we can shape, you can discuss.
So my only challenge here is like um, in an open source project, it's really hard to have like a design idea and design review process and all of these kind of procedures, because like like it's very complex.
No, always is complex, right? Because any design is a design change, is a big change. But if you check here, like for
Yeah,
example,
I agree.
the plugins
What I think
ecosystem
here is
was
like,
really big as well.
at least my point of view when I opened this issue, it was like, hey, we don't need to do any design change. Like
But
this is the design,
but
this should
the
work, right? That's what I thought.
yeah, but then it's not homogeneous as well, right? We need like thinking how we can, if tomorrow we want to add another thing, like we need to think how we can do the thing and be able to keep maintaining it in long run, right? To make easier maintain, because as you say, like
So
open source
actually, I think
project.
the implementation also shouldn't be that hard. Worst case scenario, we will have multiple packages that rendering this configuration YAML. Like that's not like production time, that's like development time. So it doesn't have to be that efficient. Does that make sense?
No, it's not about performance. It's about keep the project maintained, right? Everything that we add, we need to think like, is that just is into the, we have a problem, right? We are addressing that problem with a solution, right? Anyway, if the solution is create a lot of ifs, if blah blah blah, if blah blah blah, if blah blah blah, what happens? If I have another use case, I need to add other ifs, right? I always need to remember, and I probably need to add all the ifs in many other places as well, because if I import as a lib, if I'm using, it's not something, easy to keep maintained. Every time that something change, that stuff can break. and it causes a lot of thing like for you grow.
So, Camila, I think like the only, I agree with you 100%. The only thing I think here is like, in my opinion, this is still a bug. It's not like a new feature. You don't need to change anything in the design. It's a bug. If something works and it doesn't work, if something look like this is the way it works,
Do you know that
makes
that
sense it should
path
work,
is
then it should work. It's okay to say, hey, right now it makes sense that it will look like it's gonna work, but the way we implemented it, it's actually a lot of effort and we deprioritize it. That
that
makes sense, but it still looks like a bug to me.
okay? We scaffold the project. The path where your API will be scaffolded is tracked there because that can be used by other plugins, other features, and however, right? It can be required for another actions, another operations. But when you scaffold, you already scaffold the API in that path. And we have the markers, and the marks will be used to import the things, right? And the imports were done when you run create API. So if you change the project file, how you change all imports based on that automatically?
Oh, I'm never saying that the tool should do the refactor for you. I'm gonna do the refactor on my own, and I just want to inform the tool, hey, this is the new path. The problem is that the tool doesn't honor it. I did the refactor manually, and now I can create new, for example, webhooks, because it thinks like the path is something else, regardless to what the project file says.
Yes, because the hook you try to create in the default path.
Yeah,
right?
so if the project, if the scaffolding is gonna happen in the static path, regardless to the project description, why do we even bother to write it there, right? Because it's ignored it totally. So why do we have that?
Okay, while that we use that data, right? But we don't use in the place that you are trying to use, in the action that you are using. So, but if you'd like, I don't know if it only that it works, like, okay, you change the path there, and then you need to change many things manually, and then you also need to change the controller chain path, right? Probably you need to change the make file and customize
What
it.
I'm saying is
Yeah.
edit it on your own risk. But like when I'm editing on my own risk, I expect like the internal configuration will act like an internal configuration and not like internal log. Right?
So
If there is like an internal configuration of the path and I'm changing it on my own risk. But it
okay,
doesn't make sense that nothing taking into consideration this configuration. So why does it exist? Is it like
no,
the status?
the
Is it
thing
formula?
that is used, right? It's not used in the operation that you are trying to do, right? It's not exactly that. But if you want as well, like check all places that you use that, right? In all places that you use the path. And then try to create a pull request to, instead of use the default, try to use that, try came with any solution like that. That's fine as well. Please feel free to push the pull request, and then we check if that be okay, like it's like will that will be accepted, right? But the idea is like currently doesn't have any feature like you change here and you change everything, right? We don't support that. And if people change things for things that it doesn't work, you break the stop.
I understand. I agree with you. If we don't support it, then we don't support it. I still think that there is an internal bug that we have something configurable internally, and it's just there for, I don't know, to be pretty. I don't think it makes sense. Then we should remove it. Like maybe it's not that important because we are not supporting it. So
But if you wanted to propose a change, like when you created something, use that. But then we need to check all places that you use and see if we can like have a more homogeneous operation, like behavior, like the same behavior in a
I
place.
think we are discussing just like about. I think
And
we
you cross
are
the
for the
type.
major thing we are agreeing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we're just discussing for the sake of discussion.
Yeah, if you want to discuss the module, I don't care about the module. That is fine. If it's
Yeah,
feature
to be
or
honest, it's not that important for me to invest the time to fix this path thing. I just reverted to the recommended path, and that was it for me. That's why I don't care about this issue anymore.
that is fine.
I
And
need
it's
to
good to know.
choose my buttons, right?
Okay. I need to go as well. We crossed 2 minutes. Really thank you, Almog. And really thank you for all your contribution, right? Yeah, that is great.
Thank you. Yeah,
You are
I need
doing
to
a lot
invest
of
more
things
time.
nice.
Need to
Yeah.
invest more time. My wife is about to give birth, so I'm gonna be a
Congrats.
father soon. So my time is like a liquid commodity right now.
I understand. You'll be a boy or a girl?
It's gonna be a girl.
Oh, congrats. Really congrats. A little princess.
Yeah, I hope she's gonna be a developer like her parents. My
That's
wife is
cool.
also a developer. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is very nice. So have a nice day. Thank you for all. And please, you're very welcome, to attend the meetings and put your ideas and, it's an open source, it has no ownership, right? So
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you for all.
Thank you
Bye
too for
bye.
your contribution. You're doing a great job leading this community. It's not taken for granted.
Really thank you. That make my day.
All
Really
right.
thank you. Bye bye.
Shabbat shalom. Have a good one.
You too.